This is the State of the Global Workplace 2022 report. Gallup puts one of these reports out every year. They have for the last 20 plus years. Now, the spoiler alert is that every single year, at least in the United States, engagement levels are only 30%. 30% come to work and do more than what they're told to do. That's that discretionary effort beyond what I'm told to do or what I have to do. 50% are along for the ride. They'll do a good job if you tell them what to do, tell them how to do it, and follow up and make sure they do it. And 20% are toxic. Now, this is average, but it's endemic. It's through most workplaces and most teams. And that toxic 20%, Gallup says that you're better off paying them to stay home than to come to work. Now, the startling phenomenon, maybe not startling or surprising, is that during the pandemic, what happened is that the toxic level increased to 30% and the engaged level dropped to 20%. So that's the context for this report. Now, I will provide the report in an attachment, and I'm only going to give my commentary on the introduction here. So let me move forward to some of the content here. What I've done in the report is I've marked it up for you. And I love this first part of it. And there's been a tendency over the last decade, maybe more, is to create a narrative around making work a wonderful experience that is user-friendly and you go home feeling wonderful. Now, I believe in many of those things. However, the false proverb that if you find something you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, work is work. When I create a book, I go through periods of high stress, mind-numbing craziness, and doing good work, by definition, is work. So part of that is shifting the narrative to understanding that quality work takes effort, is challenging, there's failure involved in it, but that's part of what makes it satisfying to overcome all that and produce something that you're proud of. Now, what we're trying to get at here is that companies have created a soul-sucking side to this, where we're not playing to our strengths. We're not doing things that are meaningful in the end, or at least we don't know the connection to what we're doing to the stakeholders we're providing or the benefits or the greater purpose. And that's the 20%. That's the toxic 20%. They don't get any of those connections. So they come to work and it's soul-sucking for them. And in return, they produce the toxic environment. When we look at page 3 in the report, when you look at those who are thriving and those who are struggling, it is astounding. The differences are dramatic. And they point to this better way of doing things. So a lot of this effort we're putting into hybrid, remote, return to office, work-life balance is an exercise in missing the point. The primary thing that makes work meaningful and that people will actually come in for is playing to their strengths. In other words, a good fit, a manager who can help an employee find out what they naturally do best and apply it to their job, and purpose and meaning. Those are key. The other thing that they go into are the recipe for burnout. So the 5 things that they point to that lead to burnout is, number 1, just unfair treatment. Number 2, an unmanageable workload. Number 3, unclear communication from managers in terms of expectations and what the job is really about. Just a lack of support, encouragement. I'm on your side from a manager. And then unreasonable time pressures. Those 5 things. And what they say is that the common denominator between those 5 is the manager. So what we really have here is an issue related to how do we train and prepare managers to provide the kind of clarity and support that employees need. Now, I've been talking for 2 years through the pandemic that the managers are either the linchpin or the Achilles heel for organizations. Part of the reason why is that only 20% of managers are naturally wired to do these 5 things that Gallup talks about, to be developmental managers, and 80% are naturally wired to be what we call task-oriented managers. In other words, they're good at telling you what to do, how to do it, troubleshoot along the way, and hold you accountable. But the problem is we need to train more managers on how to be those developmental coaches to provide those 5 things that Gallup said is necessary. And when we look at the bottom line, the manager or the boss accounts for 70% of the variance in engagement levels of a team. So again, we're back to the manager. So I'm going to use this as a preface to looking at the report, and I'm very interested to see what you think after you read the report. Gallup has done some extremely good work here, and they're capturing some of the after effect of the pandemic in terms of our ability to provide employees what they need. Again, right fit, purpose, and meaning in terms of matching their strengths with the work they're doing. The rest of the things we're doing in terms of creating a better environment and providing work flexibility, those are all great, but it's not the core issue.